They're wanted in 45 states, not wanted in the other 5.
Do we know if whatever they were looking for in the warrant was found in the safe? And how'd they get that fucking safe open? They had a safe cracker go down there? How does that work?
The circuits that cannot be cut are cut automatically in response to a terrorist incident. You asked for miracles, Theo. I gave you the nice guys on business. Most days, they take their meds. This is not one of those days. Welcome to Fuckery with the Nice Guys. No interviews, no business content. Just your 2 favorite slack-jawed mouth breathers ranting about whatever. Now, strap yourselves in for Nice Guys Fuckery with the kings of fuckery, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
I'm going to see if I can set this up properly before Strickland gets here, because he has sent me a couple of text messages that he's going to be late for the recording. It is about 4:35, and we were supposed to record starting about 35 minutes ago, and a couple minutes before. So he was respectful. A couple of minutes before the top of the hour, he had said, "Hey, he's running a little bit late. Could we do this in a little bit, or do you want to record later?" So I said, let's do it when you get home. Just let me know. And about 10 minutes ago, so about 25 after the hour, he said, okay, this is what I was going to do. I was going to set myself up at a charging station and have I guess he's got a, what's that called? A hotspot, a Wi-Fi, something. And he was going to do the recording. Maybe he took his microphone. I'm not 100% sure. Somehow I'm thinking along the way that he probably didn't realize how late he was going to be, or the weather got in the way so much so that the thing I don't get, and he'll explain it when he comes on the air, is that he said he could record later in about an hour. Well, if it can record later in about an hour, I'm wondering how he was ever going to be on time to begin with. Or maybe his plan was to never be home to record, which is fine, because right now his internet connection sucks at his house. So we're going to find out. He'll be joining us in just a couple of moments. But he is calling me right now. So let's see what the problem is now. Hold on. Let's get him on. Let's get him directly on the air with us now. What's going on, Strickland? I'm talking to our nice guy community as we speak right now.
All right. Well, I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay, you go keep talking to them. I'm working on the Zoom still. I'm going to let you working on it.
What? I'm curious. What exactly is going on?
I'll tell you when we get there. I'll tell you when we get there. Bye.
Oh, okay. So it gets even more interesting, because while he was planning on being available to record at the top of the hour, which was now 37 minutes ago, he indeed is late for that. But again, respectfully, he did call and say he was going to be late. But I'm curious what exactly it meant when he said he'll be home in about another hour. Now, I don't know the distance between where he was and his house, or if he was never going to be home to begin with. Maybe that was something also. So the gist of it is now, or the solution to it is, that he was just going to call in rather than use his hotspot. And I said, do you need me to get you the phone number so you can call into the Zoom, or give you the meeting ID or anything? He didn't need any of that. And yet he still hadn't joined yet. I'm just really curious, like, what happens? There's got to be some disconnect, because I think we've been dealing with this long enough over the years that he knows my feelings towards, I don't know. Maybe these should we just no longer do these episodes? Am I a little extreme in my understanding of maybe these aren't the exact priority for anybody so Strickland, are you here? And I'm very curious. I want to hear the whole story, because I just set it up for everybody, and I want to understand it a little bit more.
Which part do you want to understand? How I couldn't get in the Zoom meeting, or why everything's so fucking late?
Yeah, let's start with the second part first, because I think that's the part that really, and I'll stop you as you go through it, so I can say, okay, remember, nice guy community, I said that this was going to be a point that he would bring up, and I want to talk about that. So why don't you go ahead and start from the very, very beginning?
Oh God! But we have so much to talk about with your COVID. But all right. You make fun of me and my drive. So I had a site visit today on my day job, which I was telling you about earlier, and it's in San Antonio, so it's like 90 minutes away, right?
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And so as I leave, I get on the road, and it is fucking pouring down rain. Right? Like it is just torrential. I sent you a quick picture. Like at one point I drove through this thing and it was like a foot of water, right?
All right, hold on. But wait, before you go on, I want to get some clarification so that I can either say to the nice guy community, maybe I was mistaken or something else. So at what time were we set Central Time to record today?
This is going to be I respect time, and that you respect time, and I don't give a fuck about time talk. Okay, I got it.
Wait, no. This is not. It's not it at all. I just want to get all of the facts straight. So, at what time were we planning on talking today? Central Time, 6 p.m. Central, correct?
6 p.m. Central Time. Yeah.
All right, you just told me San Antonio is 90 minutes in good weather, 90 minutes from Austin. So at what time? Right. And again, you got the truth serum in front of you, which is now your cell phone, which is normally a microphone. What time did you leave San Antonio?
I left San Antonio at 4:15.
Okay,
now,
so
it had not started raining yet.
I got it. So again, I will. There's strike number one against me because I said he probably didn't leave San Antonio or wherever you were until too late. So, but in actuality, you left with 15 minutes of buffer time, which should be enough time to get home and get set up normally.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
That's so then, like 10 minutes after I leave, it starts pouring down rain, and I mean, I guess that and the combination of rush hour traffic. Now that's another thing. I've never been to San Antonio, so I don't know what normal rush hour traffic in San Antonio is like. So I probably should have left a little extra time for that too. But basically, it took me like an hour just to get out of San Antonio because it was like, stop and go traffic constantly between the rain and the traffic.
Got it.
And so I get on the road, I get like, halfway home, 2/3 of the way home. Yeah, I guess I am still a ways away. So I guess I got less than halfway home. And I'm like, fuck, man, I got to take a piss, right? And it's getting really late. Obviously, I don't want to be super, super late for you. So I stop and take a piss. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll just fire up my Wi-Fi hotspot now and plug it into my laptop. And I'll just do it from here. No problem. And then, of course, I pull out my hotspot, and it's totally fucking dead. And it's like, I mean, it turns on, but it says battery is critically low. Like, okay, it ain't gonna make it for 30 minutes talking to you. So fuck that. I'm not even gonna try, right?
So can't you plug in your hotspot into your Doesn't it have a power port?
Oh, I totally could have done that. That's stupid. I didn't think about that. I totally could charge. Yeah, I totally could have done that.
All right, I got it. So I guess I set it up with my mentality that here is old Strickland coming through. When the reality of it is, it wasn't really old Strickland coming through. It was more of, it was probably just bad timing and everything, and it just happened to be that way. You didn't have your hotspot. Were you planning on, so the initial recording, you were planning on actually being home. You weren't ever considering that you were going to be hotspotting from your car.
Right. But I just fucking hate being late for anything with you. Even if I do have a good explanation, I fucking hate it. It kills me.
I get it. All right. Well, no worries, man. Listen, I've had my first drink since being back from COVID, and it was a big old glass of Fireball in anticipation of this was going to be a pretty interesting episode to have a conversation with you. I'm still not 100%, but man, oh man, I'm so glad to be where I am and on this side of the world, which is alive.
So have you told the fucking fans that you got COVID?
I may have said the word COVID, but I did not explain exactly what that meant to me over the last week, or in our conversations over the last week, also of you making sure every day that I was just still alive.
Yeah. So everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone is the man who has avoided the Grim Reaper, Mr. Doug Sandler.
Yeah.
A week and a half ago, he's like, "Man, I'm really sick," and I'm like, "Dude, what's going on?" I was like, "Did you get a COVID test?" And I get like kind of silence, and then we're gonna record, and he's like, "I've got no voice. You got to do something." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I'm sure you all enjoyed the episode of Steve O'Brien, which we always enjoy Steve O'Brien, but that was the reason. Sure enough, Doug got a test, and sure enough, Doug had the COVID. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the COVID?
Really, really bad. That's all I can tell you from a feeling perspective. I mean, yes, it is the flu, and yes, I have gotten the flu before, but I've never been so willing to give up and just say, can the angel of mercy just haul me away? Because this is it. I'm just, I know I don't mean to make it dramatic at all. I did not want to die, but man, oh man, it was just a horrible. I had the worst sore throat I think I've ever had in my entire life. I had a bad cough, really bad cough. I had a fever. I basically could not move. And one of the issues was, and this is really weird. I have this thing called, I don't even know the condition. It's like laryngopal. Hold on a second. I can tell you what it's called. Talk for a second while I look it up.
Oh yeah. And by the way, the other reason that when I said to you, "Hey, I've got the Zoom number, I'll just call on my phone," that it took so fucking long. So I click on the link and it said, "Hey, would you like to do a one-click mobile call?" I'm like, "Yeah, perfect." I hit one-click mobile call and the phone says, "Okay, which Google account would you like to call from? Like which of your Gmail accounts?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." So I just pick one and it's like, "Okay, would you like to set up Google Phone? Go ahead and pick a number." I'm like, "You didn't tell me I needed a fucking number. I just want a fucking call." So I try to do it from my cell, but it won't do it. So it's like, okay, I look at the number, and I've got a horrible memory. I can't remember shit. I'm fucking old, right? So I look at the number, and I remember the number, and I'm like, okay, cool, I've got this. Like, and I switch to the phone. I manually dial the number, and it connects, and then it says, "Please enter your password, your fucking passcode," right? So I switch back to the my calendar app. And it's like a fucking 27-digit goddamn passcode. I'm like, I am never going to fucking remember that.
Oh, no.
So that's when I was getting frustrated, and I called you, and I wrote down the passcode, and I had to read it off from writing it down. So,
oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. Okay, so the condition that I have is something called laryngospasm. Laryngospasm. It is a spasm of the larynx, which is your voice box. And
larynx.
Yeah, your larynx. So basically what happens is, and I'll explain how this is related to COVID. So this spasm, what happens is your vocal cords, they basically clamp up. Now, I don't know if you remember when we were in Vegas, maybe like 10 years ago, and this girl said, "Hey, I'm 21, buy me a shot." And of course I bought her a shot, and I did the shot with her. And as soon as I did the shot, my throat just clamped up and I could not breathe. I couldn't no air coming in or out. I don't know if that has ever happened to you, or if you know what that is.
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay. So it's this condition called laryngospasm. And it is your larynx clamps up. And when I had this sore, and you can't, the onset of the vocal cord spasm is sudden, and just as suddenly it goes away, usually after a few minutes. The breathing difficulty can be alarming, but it's not life-threatening. So it actually shuts down my ability to breathe in or out.
Oh.
Okay, so you get this guy that coughs once, let's say, and it causes this spasm, and the spasm clamps my throat completely shut, so no air comes in or out. And you're telling me it's okay, it'll go away after a few minutes. And
right. right, a few minutes.
You're talking to a guy that can't breathe right now. No air in or no air out. So I'm like, I'm freaking out. Now, this sore throat was so extreme that pretty much anytime I would cough or get some like phlegm in my throat and try to clear my throat, it would happen. And it probably happened maybe 15 times over the course of 4 or 5 days.
Damn.
And
Wow.
every time it happens, my heart starts racing and I break into this sweat and I'm like, holy shit, I can't breathe. And a couple of times I had to go get JJ because she has this calming effect. You know, she can like, okay, just breathe. And it was so traumatic for me that I had experienced it maybe 10 times in my life before that, but never as many times as I'd experienced it in a 3 or 4 day period of time. So
Wow.
the challenge was not only this horrific sore throat, this hellacious headache, this horrible cough, a fever, all of the things, but now throw into the mix the fact that anytime I cough or cough too hard, my voice box clamps down and I can't breathe. So all of those things happening together made this probably one of the worst experiences that I've ever had in my and I'm really not. I still have like a little bit of brain fog. Like I'm not totally there. I threw out my back because I think I was coughing so much. So all of that stuff has not made for a really wonderful week, but I am very happy to say that it was horrible to go through, but I'm glad that I went through it and have whatever experience that I have behind me. But it's not one of those things that you really want anybody else to ever have to go through.
Yeah. Okay, so given that, and from what I've heard, and again, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, I haven't been studying this shit lately, but from my understanding, if you get vaccinated, like, you know, COVID vaccine, yes, you can still get it, and yes, they have obviously admitted, no, the vaccine does not prevent you from getting it, because there's always the fucking,
Right.
you know, the versions of it, whatever bullshit, right? But
Right.
what I'm hearing is, if you do get it, the symptoms will be much, much less. There's much less chance of hospitalization. Knowing that, do you think you might go get vaccinated now in case you might get it again?
Oh, hold on a second. I was thinking where you were heading with this was now that you've had it, the chances of you getting it again are probably slimmer, and the chances of you getting it with any level of severity would be even lesser, which would cause me to think, no, there would be no reason for me to ever get a vaccine now.
Well, now, it is interesting. I don't know. I do know, I mean, I think if you've had it, you're less likely to get it, but obviously they know you certainly can get it again. But I don't know if you've had it, if the symptoms are less if you get it again. I have no idea if that's the case or not.
In your mind, what would be the reason that I would even consider getting the vaccine now that I've had it and actually lived through it? Why because of the severity of what I had?
Yeah, because like, fuck, I never want to live through that again. And if I don't get vaccinated, there's a chance that it could happen again. So fuck this, I'm going to get vaccinated. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but here's where my thought process goes. You know, there's been like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 strains of this stuff that have been through, and next year there will be a different strain of either this virus or a different virus, and they're going to say, hey, you need to get a vaccine for this one, and then you got to get a vaccine for, and then doesn't it just become a regular flu shot like you would always that you would normally be getting anyway? And my feeling is like, no, this doesn't make me any more motivated to want to get a shot than before, because even in some of the conversations that I was having with some people after I had explained that I had gotten this, a number of people had said, oh yeah, I knew somebody that actually got a shot. And I've heard that there's a number of heart complications that could result from getting the vaccine itself. And I'm like, well, why don't we just trade one illness or one malady for another? I'm not excited about wanting to get a vaccine as a result of this, but I'm not excited not to want to get it. I just want to do the same thing I did last time, which is stay as long out of the game. You know, when did it start? It started in March of 2020, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I avoided it for 2.5 years. Let's try to do that again, which is about the last time I was sick, probably about 3 years ago.
Okay. You know that when somebody says to you, "Oh yeah, I had a friend and they got a shot and then they had this heart problem with it," you know that's called anecdotal evidence. And you know they've had like 2 billion people who have gotten this shot now, and you know unless there's some huge conspiracy covering it up, which it's always possible, it could be that out of 2 billion people, that maybe if 5% of them, which I think would be like 200 million or 2 million or something, have gotten sick or died, and they've just covered it up. It's possible, but I kind of doubt it.
Well, I'm not relying upon the anecdotal evidence to make a determining factor of whether I would or would not get vaccinated. I'm using the philosophy or the theory of I've gotten this, I have the antibodies for this, I probably will not get this again, and a vaccine is not going to cover me for this. It's going to cover me for something else that I'm against getting a vaccine for anyway. So why would I be getting it? I don't want to get it.
Okay. I was just curious.
The thing I don't understand is how you've avoided getting it so long.
I know. I've been quite social, so to speak, especially the last year. I don't want to say I've been disrespectful. You know, when people are wearing masks, I'm wearing a mask. It's all good. But I've done plenty of fucking traveling and gone to concerts and shit like that. And I'm, you know, not gonna wood, man. I haven't gotten it yet.
Well, and I do think that if you ended up getting it, because you've gotten your vaccination plus, how many boosters have you gotten on top of that?
Plus a booster.
Okay,
so
right. So you've had the vaccination plus you've had a booster, and I mean, again, if I go by what just is normal, regular Western medicine science, they say that if you get the flu or if you get COVID from here, you're probably not going to have that severe a case. Compared to what though? You know, maybe my case is as unsevere as it, or as severe as I thought it was. Maybe they would say, well, he wasn't on a ventilator, so that wasn't very severe.
Yeah, that's true. True.
It is all relative. Regardless, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, even an enemy. I would not want anybody to have this. I would rather have my disagreement resolved some other way other than saying, well, that's okay because you got COVID. I would say, oh my God, no, I wouldn't want that on my staunchest enemies.
Okay. So any other topics that you have that you want to bring up for today?
I would like to bring the topic because I want to talk a little bit about, let's completely take a left turn here. I want to talk about this whole marketing thing for a second, because
oh God, okay, yeah,
okay, because
I'm fine with it. I'm just disappointed at the outcome, and I'm happy to have the discussion too.
Well, I
mean, so fucking disappointed with the outcome every goddamn time.
Well, and you know what it is. You know what's the expression? Somebody could have a really good sales practice and have a shitty product and sell a lot of stuff, but have no deliverable. Somebody could have a really shitty sales practice, not make any sales, have a great deliverable, and have the same outcome. And the issue with this particular situation, and I love the guy that was helping us with marketing. I mean, he did a great job. His name is Martin. Martin did a great job of keeping me informed, of doing all the reports, of doing all of the activity. And yet we still weren't able to make any conversions after literally 3 months of effort. So the question remains, is it even a longer term project than a 3-month project? And do we have to just say, hey, look, let's just call it, this is a $20,000 investment without any hope for any return before, 6 months or 8 months? Or do we just say, look, maybe professionally marketing the services that we have isn't the right way to go, because if we wait long enough, which is what we have been doing, we've gotten plenty of referrals from customers and we've grown our business nice and steady, and slow and steady wins the race. Which philosophy do you take as a business owner? I don't know. I'm really curious of what your opinion is.
I am leaning more and more towards the latter every day, because I agree with you. I think the last marketing company that we had that failed, I believe they failed because they just did a shitty job. They didn't get who we were, they didn't get the product, and they didn't try, and they didn't give a shit.
Now wait. Before you move on, was that quality control, or was that Marketing 360?
Oh, Marketing 360.
Okay, right. I agree with you. Marketing 360 didn't know what the hell they were. Right. That was wasted money that we should have. That was just a big mistake.
Yes, 100%. No,
okay.
Quality control is our guy here. Just that we're just wrapping up with now, right?
No. Quality control isn't. Quality was Garrett and his team.
Oh, well, yeah. I thought they did it kind of average to below average job too. I just think they were a total waste of money because they weren't that expensive.
Right, and they did provide some results, but it wasn't at any greater pace that if we put that same effort into just talking to our current clients and getting more referrals from our clients, I think we would have accomplished the same results. And if we look at the quality of the clients that were brought to us from that, I would say that you and I would both agree that that was probably a fail as well.
100%. 100%.
Okay. All right. And now so we went through a company that had poor with 360. They were poor deliverables and no results. Then we worked with a company that had some results but poor deliverables. And now we've dealt with a third company that has had really good deliverables but just no results.
It's just so fucking sad. I don't feel like our perfect avatar client is that hard to find, but apparently they just need to find us. I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, I think you said it. I think our perfect avatar client is not hard to find. We just it's just the important thing is when we find them, the timing has to be right for them in order to move forward. And maybe we're just dealing with such a highly specialized product in podcast launching and production services that we can never I never want to convince anybody to do this. We just have to be at the right intersection of them ready to go and us having the right product and service for them.
Yeah, I agree. And we are still growing at a regular, good, decent pace. We got a bunch of new clients. We have one that just signed up the other day. We got a bunch rolling through some things ready to go right now, and I think we're doing pretty good. Can't complain.
So then the question is, do we just not do any of this stuff at all and just wait for the business to come in the door? And then how does that look you know me, Strick, if I have an opportunity to talk to somebody that has any level of interest, I'm going to not only stay in the game with them long enough for them to decide that they're going to buy from us, but I'm probably a good, my role as a follow-up person is, as a sales guy is, and I'll pat myself on the back here for a moment, is exceptional. I know I stay in the game with them long enough. I just don't, does this make a saleable company at some point that has no highly defined sales process or marketing process?
Oh, that is interesting. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, because you're right. Does that lower the value, the sales value of the company if we wanted to sell it? I hadn't thought about it, but you could be right.
I mean, we don't have a highly defined funnel. We have a good sales cycle, and I understand the sales process. But I'd say that before we get to the point where we can say, hey, let's think about consider putting our company up for sale, I think we're going to have to bite the bullet and say, all right, let's put $25,000 into a marketing program that can get the leads, and just know that we're going to spend $20,000 or $25,000 with no result until I think there would be results eventually, but it's just going to take a long time.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I don't know if there's anything we can do about that right now. I'm, you know what? I don't think we got anybody ready to buy the company like next week or next month. Right. So I'm not worried about that yet. Let's just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. So I think after this go round is finished with Martin and his team, I just think we just hang up the marketing hat. Unless there's somebody in our community that says, I know how to do this and I know how to do it differently. And you know what would even be what would even be more interesting, and I know that you would probably at least spend a few moments listening to whoever would say this, somebody that would come in and say, do not pay me any money. I will create your sales department, and you just give me 50% of any money that I bring in the door. Now, I would entertain that.
I would certainly entertain it. Yeah.
I don't know that there's anybody out there that is willing to have the confidence to do that or the time to invest in the company. But it's almost like having a fractional sales manager come in and start something like this. I've always considered myself a good sales guy. I just don't want a sales department.
Yeah, I hear you 100%. And maybe if we've got any listeners out there who feel they are marketing gurus, we don't even need salesmen. Doug will do the selling. He'll do the closing, but you got to bring the qualified leads in. We can't even freaking figure out how to do that.
I know. It really is sad that after all of this time, this is the third marketing effort that we have been through probably in the last, 2 years, 2.5, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
It just isn't working. It just isn't working. And it's not because we don't have a highly defined process and a great system in place and great deliverables, all of that stuff. It's like, we know what we're doing. The only thing we don't know how to do is market.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. We have very happy clients. We have a subscription model. And, I don't even know what our retained percentage is, but it's very high. I mean, most of our clients that any client that leaves and decides not to stick with us anymore, some people take it in-house. Most of them just do it because they're not going to be podcasting anymore.
Yep. Yep.
It's not because they were unhappy with us or feel that we're too expensive. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, I know you've been sort of out of it with the COVID and all. Have you been listening to the Daily at all? Do you have any idea what's going on in the world? I
have been listening to the Daily. As a matter of fact, it was my one bright spot of pretty much every morning. I understand, and not to turn this into a political conversation at all, but it was one of the things you wanted to talk about, the raid on Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I'm just really curious about this because, of course, for any of those of you who don't know, living under a rock, the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, which is basically where Trump is living, and have a search warrant. They broke into his safe and they took a couple of boxes of stuff out of his house. And of course, Trump is immediately saying, "Oh, they planted evidence." Like, you don't even know what they found, and you're saying they planted something, right? And he was not there. He was in New York at the time. But the fact that the FBI did this, I mean, Merrick Garland is like, he knows that doing this is really, really dangerous. In other words, it's just going to make Republicans basically stand behind Trump more. So you wouldn't do it unless you absolutely, positively had a really, really, really good fucking reason. And a better reason than Joe Biden saying, "Oh, I don't want to run against him in 2 years." Like, that's bullshit, all right? So it's just crazy to me that, I'm sorry, it's not crazy to me that the Republicans are still behind him, because it's a cult, and that's what it is. People that are still behind him are still behind him. But it just kills me. I don't know. I guess we're going to wait to see what happens. I would love to hear a Republican, like Jared, for example, somebody who calls in on the regular, what his opinion is. Because if I'm a Republican, my opinion is either going to be, "Oh, fuck them, it's political, they're against me, they're so fucking against me, and they're only doing this because they're against me."
Well,
okay.
Well, hold on a second though. If we take politics out of this for just a quick second and just put the legal recourse or legal reasons behind it, I don't know, Republican, Democrat, whoever issued the search warrant, but it's not like a Democrat could just go to a Republican or a Democratic judge and say, "I need to issue a search warrant because I have a sneaking suspicion there is something pretty fishy going on in Mar-a-Lago in his documents." Didn't they have to have some probable cause for something going on? And so that's A. And B, isn't this kind of like what we talked about a month or so ago when we talked about all of the things that O.J. Simpson did, probably including murder? The thing that he got arrested on was stealing some of his memorabilia back. Isn't this kind of like he probably mishandled some of the classified documents? And is that kind of what they're trying to get him on now?
Well, we don't know specifically exactly, but we may know on Friday. Okay, so let's see. To your first point, let's assume for a minute that he's not the president. Okay, if he is not the former president of the United States, then you still need to have very probable cause
right.
to get.
and if the president.
And that is from a law enforcement agency. And a law enforcement agency has to take that request to a judge.
Right.
So you have to have some pretty serious probable cause just to get that. Now,
right.
Knowing he is the former president raises that bar like crazy. Like they've got to really, really, really have some probable evidence, right? Now, here's the other thing. The guy who is leading the FBI, the guy who is leading the DOJ, they were both appointed by Trump. They are both lifelong Republicans. And the judge who issued the warrant was also appointed by Trump. So all of those things, anybody that's still saying they're just against me, this is politics, I'm sorry, I have a hard time believing that. But here's where it gets even more interesting than I just found out about 2 hours ago. Now, a search warrant is like, it's sealed. In other words, the person that it is placed upon has a copy. In other words, Trump was given a copy, but it is not made public. Now, on the search warrant, it specifically says, this is what we think you may have done. This is specifically what we are looking for. This is why, and this is what we think you did, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Now, it's not public. So technically, right now, we have no idea what the FBI is looking for. We have some idea that he took 15 boxes that were supposed to go to the National Archives down to Mar-a-Lago with him. The National Archive, for about a year, politely kept saying to him, hey, could you please return them? We're sure it was a mistake. We're sure you didn't keep anything on purpose. We know you just didn't know the rules. It's all good. Could you please just send it? Which you never did, until the National Archives got a little nasty and said, look, dude, we need these fucking boxes. We're going to come and get them. At which point they came and got them. And since then, the National Archives has said there's a lot of shit missing.
Wow.
And there's a lot of classified shit missing. Okay, so that's the first part of the story. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. Because, of course, Fox and everybody else is saying, like, this is horrible, they've overstretched. Now, see, all of the liberal fucking fake media, right? They are all saying, just release the warrant, Trump. Tell us what they say they're looking for. And then we'll know if they're lying, or we'll have a better idea. Of course, Trump didn't do that. But now, Merrick Garland, who is the head of the DOJ, about 3 or 4 hours ago said he is going to make the warrant public tomorrow afternoon. Now, Trump has until tomorrow afternoon to basically say, hey, I want to stop this. Like, legally, he can do some things to try to stop it.
Yeah.
But as of right now, Merrick Garland has basically said, you know what? I'm tired of hearing you tell everybody we're fucking liars. So I'm going to tell the world why we were there. So, either tell them yourself or shut the fuck up, dude.
What's the reason why either Garland is okay with sharing the purpose the purpose of the warrant, and why is Trump holding back with even sharing the reason why the warrant was issued to begin with? What secret is on that piece of paper that is so important that can't be shared? So
part A, I'm not sure. Because, as I said, I only found out about this about 2 hours ago, and I'm totally going to research it tonight because I am really curious. I have no idea legally, what Merrick Garland can do or why he would do it or what the motivation would be. But the part B, I guarantee guarantee you Trump doesn't want to release it because there are things that he probably did, and he doesn't want the world to know what he did.
Oh, I got it.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know what the other explanation could be. I have no idea what any other explanation of that could be.
Okay, so it doesn't really tell us anything different. We still don't have do we know if whatever they were looking for in the warrant was found in the safe? And how'd they get that fucking safe open? They had a safe cracker go down there? How does that work?
So they would not say whether what they were looking for they found or not. And that makes sense. That's an FBI investigation. You wouldn't tell them. But the FBI did leave with a number of boxes. So we don't know if they found what they were looking for, but they did find something. Now, regarding the safe, it's interesting you mentioned that because I just watched a YouTube video of a guy who's a safe cracker, and he was critiquing safe cracking in movies, like which ones were realistic and which ones are fake. And this guy has gotten into thousands of safes. That's what he does for a living.
Wow.
And what he said was 99% of the time you are going in and prying it open, wedging it. That almost every time when you see somebody doing a safe cracker thing, like where they're listening or they are like trying to, like, it's bullshit. He basically said, unless it's a really, really old fucking safe, you can't do that. And that if you're a safe cracker, you don't give a shit. It's not that hard for most of them to either take a welding torch or take a crowbar if it's big enough and you just fucking pry it open.
All right. So the way that he did it, he did not like take the stethoscope and do the turning to the right, turning to the left, or hit the digital buttons. He actually probably took a crowbar or a welder and opened it.
My understanding from what I've heard is, yes, they did crack it open. Now, what I'm curious about is, did they reach out to him to ask him to unlock it before they did that? I have no idea. I mean, I would think if the FBI is like, hey, Mr. Trump, by the way, we're in your office right now. Just want to let you know. And we're going to be breaking into your safe. If you'd like to save it, you can give us the combination. I'm sure you can change it later. I know you're going to do that. But here's the choice. Either tell us the combination, have one of your Secret Service guys who are here tell us the combination, or we're just going to fucking crack it open. I don't know if they did that or they just broke it open.
They probably just broke it open because he probably would have had some sort of self-destruct code if he was there.
Oh my God, that would be interesting, right? Like, I bet they do make safes where if you put in a certain specific wrong option, that it incinerates everything inside the safe immediately.
Well, it's kind of like your iPhone. You know, you have an option when you set up your iPhone that after like X amount of false open attempts doesn't work, it will erase the contents of the phone.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I just think it's super interesting. I have felt on numerous occasions before that the end was near for Trump. And I was wrong every goddamn time. I mean, when the tape came out that said, oh yeah, grab him by the pussy, that was like before he even got elected. I'm like, oh, well, thank God people are really going to see who he is, and he got fucking elected anyway. But I really feel like he's on thin ice now. I mean, and it is the Al Capone. You know, they got Al Capone on tax evasion. They never got him on all the money that he did. I would not be surprised if they get Trump on like taking classified information from the White House illegally. And
isn't the purpose of all of this just so from a Democrat's perspective, not necessarily to put him in jail, but just to make sure he doesn't run again?
I think the reality is that, yes, I don't think anybody expects him to actually do jail time. And I have to believe that even if he got convicted and was supposed to do jail time, Biden would pardon him, which I think would be the right thing to do on many, many levels. But I really do think that the Democrats, what the goal, and forget the Democrats, this is the FBI and the DOJ. And the whole point of the DOJ is that they are completely independent of the White House and completely independent of the Congress. That's the whole point of it. So the DOJ is leading it. But is this what the Democrats want? Absolutely. They just don't want him to run again.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Was there any other news that I should have been listening to from the Daily?
I don't think so. That was it. That was a big one. I'm just dying to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, it is just a rolling. It's just amazing the amount of, even outside of office, the amount of challenges that have been just created, not by him. I think a lot of the challenges, what would happen if we just did nothing, didn't pursue anything, just kind of, I really felt like things were kind of settling in nicely. And when I say settle in nicely, I'm not 100% behind the politics that are going on. I don't think that Biden is doing the best job at all. But at the same time, the other things that go on the political agenda, didn't you feel like things were kind of working their way through the political process without Trump in office? Or do you feel like things were still challenged because of his like image or the shadow that he has cast over the last couple of years?
I'm not sure if you're asking the question, if you're saying that you felt like things were relatively smooth politically while he was in office, or are you saying that they've been relatively smooth since he's been out of office?
Not the first one, the second one.
You think they've been relatively smooth since he's been out of office? I
just think, notwithstanding the politics that is being fucked up by Biden, but rather just the political agenda that's going on in the country, I feel as though to a certain degree there is some level of normalcy returning. But the idea of continuing to upset the apple cart by prodding the bear called Trump, I think further propagates the separation between the Democrats and the Republicans.
Well, okay, so let's address two things. So the first one is, it sounds like what you're saying is just fucking let him go. Things are really fine right now. Now, the first part of that is, again, the Democrats have nothing to do with the DOJ or the FBI. So technically, really, it's not the Democrats that are actually poking the bear of Trump. It is the Justice Department. Now, let's say hypothetically that the Democrats had some control over that, right? If they did, no, I really don't think that they should let it go, because let's say, forget which side of the political fence you're on, okay? If Trump has done 1/10 of the things that he's been accused of, I don't want this guy as president anymore. I would hope that Republicans wouldn't either. Now, there are people out there who will say, well, look, I want a Republican back in the White House, and you know what? He's an asshole, but he's the best shot. I think that's a horrible way to do it. Now,
agreed.
I think, the thing is, Rick Scott is probably the next closest candidate. Let's say, hypothetically, Trump doesn't run in 24 for whatever reason, whether he can or whether he chooses not to, right? Look, Rick Scott's a dangerous fucking guy, and he basically just walks right in Trump's footsteps behind him. But I would rather have Rick Scott run, even though I think Scott might have a better chance of beating Biden. But it would be fucking terrified to have Trump in office again. Yeah. He is the loosest fucking cannon. I mean, yeah. I completely disagree with almost everything that Rick Scott says and talks about in the way he's fucked up Florida. But if you said to me, would I rather have him in the White House than Trump? Oh, 100%. Every day and twice on Sunday. Absolutely. Because Trump is such a loose cannon. And he's just talking. Anyway, second part of that, politics. I'm curious, and I know this is not a political show, but I'm really curious to go here. What do you think Biden is fucking up about politics right now?
I think a lot of his overall decisions, things like what he did to get the troops out of Afghanistan, how he's handling the situation. Now, I'm not saying I have a better solution, but between Afghanistan and the Russia invasion and even things like he's just not working hard enough or has the right connections to put through a bigger what's the environment? I think between the environment, Russia, and Afghanistan, I just like, these are three huge issues that have been just, in my opinion, just handled poorly. Again, I don't have the solution, but I know that I don't like the solutions that he has created.
Well, I think with Afghanistan, he was just handed a huge pile of shit that nobody was going to be able to get out of well either way. With Russia, again, I'm not sure, from my opinion, what should have been different. Because I don't know if a lot of Republicans agree with this now, but when everybody was anti-Biden, when Russia was talking about invading Ukraine, a lot of the Republicans were like, hey, you know what, Russia, let them do what they want. They're going to do what they want. And then they invaded Ukraine, and a lot of the Republicans were still like, hey, you know what, he's not so wrong. Putin's not a bad guy. We should let him take Ukraine. And which I, again, still think he's been a fucking tyrant for 40 years. And, just because Trump thought he was friends with him, I don't understand why so many Republicans are with him. But here's the third part, and I don't know if you heard about this, because it happened, again, literally this week. Trump passed, I don't know what they called it now. It's like the Reduce Inflation Act or some shit like that. I don't know. It's basically a slightly smaller version of Build Back Better, and it's got huge climate change money. It has got raising taxes on big corporations to actually pay for it. It is going to hopefully reduce inflation. Basically, all the stuff that you said he hasn't been able to push through, you're right. He was trying to get it through a year ago, but he literally last week got a really good one through. So I guess we're going to have to see what happens with that. We don't know yet.
Okay. I mean, again, it's just a matter of, I don't have the solutions to the problems that I'm bringing up here. I just feel like there was probably an alternative to that. It was, the Democrats were very, very into the entire idea of staying or going to Afghanistan or Iraq to make sure that we handled whoever it was, whether it was Osama bin Laden or Saddam Hussein, for terrorism, because it's really easy to pick on somebody that can't ever possibly fight back with the might that you have, but at the same time, we refuse to defend Ukraine when the superpower Russia goes in, because in my opinion, they're a mighty hand and they can fight back pretty hard. So my thought is like, hey, it's easy for us to make a decision to defend somebody that can't, a country that can't fight back. But when a country can fight back, and why weren't we there to help out more? Again, I don't know all the politics involved, but it's like, it seems kind of, we're there with one, we're protecting our oil, because that's really the bottom line is what it was. Why else would we be in the Middle East other than to protect our oil? We're not protecting anything, only human rights when it comes to Ukraine, which to me is a more important reason. Fuck it, let the oil go and let's come up with an alternative method for powering our cars and our economy. But let's not defend the human rights atrocities that are going on. Just wanton attacks on civilians by the Russians just because they're trying to make a point. I mean, what the fuck is that all about?
Well, here was my understanding about when Russia was invading Ukraine and when we first got into it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, on this one, because I could be totally wrong. So if we had actually directly helped Ukraine, like if we've said we will give you troops, we will give you planes or something, that would be basically like us declaring war on Russia. So that the reason that we didn't go that far was 100% political, which again, I get. I mean, do you want to tell fucking Putin we're declaring war on you?
No, but can't we go in as NATO, which is an alliance? Why can't we convince, or why do we even need to convince NATO? Why is it even a thought that, look, we're protecting a land that is defenseless, or as defenseless as we have allowed it to be, because we've probably supplied all of the, like, what's the difference between supplying somebody with bullets or actually sending a gun in there with someone to be behind the bullets? What's the difference between those two things?
No, it's totally the politics. But we have given $9 billion to Ukraine. We've totally supported them. And by the way, when Trump was president, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when they were trying to get fucking Hunter Biden's laptop bullshit, right?
Right.
That Trump, the first impeachment, part of the reason for the first impeachment was he got on the phone with the leader of Ukraine and said, I'm withholding this defense money that we promised that we were going to give you until you do me a favor. Until you basically prosecute, but I don't know, you do some fucking looking into Hunter Biden's laptop or whatever bullshit it was. But that was the whole thing in the White House. And Trump basically said, no, I don't feel like giving you the money because I need a favor. And you can't have the money until you do me this favor. So first of all, it was Trump that fucked them in the first place. But Biden and Congress did give them a good bit of money to help. So, I mean, we're behind them. But what killed me, and this is where I actually need, Jared, I need your clarification, because this may be an exaggeration, because when I stop and think about this, it seems fucking insane. But the first month or so, when like Ukraine was actually doing okay, but Russia was like crunching on them, the Republicans were still saying, I don't understand why we're sending any money into Ukraine. You know, Putin, the land that is Ukraine used to be part of Russia. And you know what? If Putin wants it back, maybe we should just let him take it back. I mean, that's what the Republicans were saying. And when I'm with you, I'm like, it's not his fucking country, and it's fucking genocide. And oh my God. But anyway, so I'm with you. We shouldn't get into politics. Neither one of us know enough about it to talk intelligently about it.
Well, where are we now? I mean, I know it's been, several months now since this whole thing has gotten started. Any idea where we are now? Are they still pounding the crap out of Ukraine?
So we just actually donated another billion dollars to Ukraine to help them. So where we are now is, I think Ukraine, is really hurting, but they've put a huge dent into the Russian army. Like they've destroyed like 4,000 Russian tanks or something. So basically the little engine that could was Ukraine, right? I mean, Russia's like one of the fucking second largest army in the world or something. Nobody thought they would still be around if Russia kept attacking, and they still are. So where it is Russia's not giving up, but Ukraine is holding its own. That's my understanding. And we've just sent them more money. I mean, literally in the last month, I think we sent them another $1 billion or something.
The war will continue until morale improves. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
Oh my God! All right. Well, we got in pretty deep there. Thank you, Nice Guy community, for putting up with our little banter back and forth. But it certainly is a better conversation than COVID.
And as always, we would love a phone call at 4242 DJ Doug with opinions that agree with us or opinions that differ. Anybody that's listening to the show, we love to hear opinions that are completely different from ours. We will listen, we will respect them, and sometimes they may sway us, and other times we may continue to disagree. But we always like to hear what the other side has to say. All
right, time to get back in your car and keep riding. Your car is probably fully charged by now. Have you been charging the whole time?
Dude, I pulled into my driveway 10 minutes ago. I've been driving the whole time.
Oh, you've been driving that silent Tesla.
Oh, yeah, you didn't hear it at all? I love that.
No, not at all.
72 miles an hour on the highway.
I guess I didn't tell you, and I am now through Robinhood. Let me tell you how my stock is doing right now. I am a proud owner of Tesla stock and have been for the last 6 weeks or so. Hold on, I'll tell you what my position is exactly. Let me figure out how to.
I am curious what it's worth right now because I have my Tesla stock, but I haven't looked at it in a week.
All right, let's see. Tesla is. Hold on, I gotta find it. Stocks. I don't know how to look this up.
Did you buy it at $30 a share like I did?
No, I think no, I don't. I'm pretty sure I didn't buy.
I
Let's
just
see.
wish I had bought more. I think I bought like 5 shares at $30. I'm like, I wish I bought a lot more.
No, Tesla right now is $864.40.
I'm happy with that.
Let's see. It's down 2.6% today. Hold on, let me take a look. All right, let's see.
It does tend to fluctuate a good bit.
864. Let's take a look at it. So how long have you had it? For how many years?
Oh, dude. Yeah, no, literally, I bought 5, I think it was 5 shares at $30, but that was before it split 5 times.
Got it.
So
okay.
basically, yeah, if you could say, so if I bought $30, I think I bought 5 shares. So let's call it 25 shares at $30 each.
Well, let's look at it this way. Over the past 5 years, forgetting all the splitting and everything, over the last 5 years, Tesla is up 1,110%. So
over how many years?
Over the last 5 years. So in 5 years, if you invested, let's say $100, you would have 100 times that. You'd have $10,000 if you invested $100.
Yeah. I wish I'd kept more. To like I think before it split and it got up to like 600 or 700, I think that's when I had to sell a couple of shares. Maybe I bought 10 and I sold it down to 5 or something. I don't even fucking remember. That was it. I think I originally had 10 and it was at like $700 a share. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta pay my fucking ex-wife and I'm just going to sell half of them. So I sold 5 shares, but that was before it split 5 times too. And so, yeah, that was a lot of money.
I bought it somewhere around $700, and it's at it's at 864 right now. But my volume is very low. I have about $15 worth. Robinhood.
Fractional share.
Yes, I'm only fractional share buying. My entire portfolio. I have $236, and I am up 7.5% overall with all of them. I have even some cryptocurrency I have that I'm even up.
Oh, God.
I do a reinvestment allotment of $5 a month in cryptocurrency.
Big bucks.
Well, it's funny. It's funny to think about that, but imagine having invested $5 a month for the first 5 years every month in Amazon when it was like, $1.32 a share.
No doubt. You're right. 100% right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, my friend. We'll get. You are in your house, so that's very cool. So I'll make sure I put this in the in Monday, so you have access to it, so you can do all of your fine editing. Because knowing you, I'm sure you can't seem to offload anything from your plate, so you're still editing the podcast.
Yeah, this is one stupid one. I do need to figure out how to do this one. It's just I got to listen to your intro before I got here anyway. So.
Yeah, it's just a couple of minutes worth, and I do mess with you a little bit, but you straightened everything out as soon as you came on.
Well, I appreciate that, but I hate fucking being late when it comes to you for whatever reason, even if it is a good reason. I don't.
I put the fear of God in both you and Robert Sherman. It's really good. I like to see the guys that are heroes of mine actually kind of be a little intimidated by me and my schedule.
So here's the question, though. Did it actually change Robert's behavior? Did he start showing up on time?
Well, he did start showing up on time, which was great. But I'll tell you, which was even more important to me than him actually showing up every time on time, which I know it was a challenge of his. I was at least notified that, hey, look, I'm going to be 30 minutes late. Or, in the old world, I used to show up and wait there literally for 30 minutes waiting for him. And it would make me so fucking furious. And after literally 2 or 3 of those and me getting right in his face, he calmed down the amount of times that he was late. That definitely has gone down. But the more important thing was the communication, which I think that from my perspective and what you do, you're totally in the right spot. I mean, whenever you feel like you're going to be late, you at least let me know.
Absolutely. And I try and let you know as soon as I can also, not 5 minutes before.
No, that's the way to go. You do good. You do good. All right. In the meantime, let's get out of here. We'll chat a little bit after I hit stop here. But in the meantime, Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. I would have gotten away with the 2 if it weren't for you meddling kids.